So now for our final pitch, I'm excited to invite Ben Margolit, the CEO of Rentgrata, onto the show. But before I do, I want to highlight some of the reasons why we at MinnoTank believe that Rentgrata will change the way apartments are rented in the future. When I moved into my last apartment in Chicago, I had a lot of questions. I wanted to know more about what it was like living in that building. If I were to have had Rent Grata, I would have not only been able to chat, meet, and learn about the life in that building, the amenities, and the overall experience from real people who already live there, but I would have been able to form a community before I ever move in and feel at home on day one. MinnoTank is a huge advocate for what Rent Grata is doing, and we are excited to welcome Ben Margolit onto the show. So, Ben, without any further ado, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about Rent Grata.
Thanks, Ken, and thanks for the intro. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks again, Ken, for having us here. So we are Rentgrata, and we are helping apartment renters enter the sharing economy, and we are doing so by helping property managers fill vacant units, cut costs, and learn more about their customers along the way. So plain and simple, people don't talk to their friends or peers enough when looking for a new place to live. So why is this the problem that we've identified? People looking for a new apartment usually start one of two places. If they happen to know someone who lives in the city or neighborhood that they want to move to, they'll ask them for recommendations. If they can't think of any such friend off the top of their head, they'll turn to the internet and end up utilizing one of the many similar apartment listing or broker services that are out there. Current residents, unless their friends happen to think of them, have no idea if members of their own social network are trying to move to their area. So why is that bad? Property managers have resident referral programs in place for a reason. Right? They have them to incentivize their residents to attract their friends to move to their property. Property managers know that leads produced by resident referrals convert to leases at 10 times the rate of leads that are produced by generic apartment listing services. They also know that residents who have friends in the building tend to feel a sense of community and are more likely to lease there longer, which reduces the overall vacancy. They also know that they are spending an absurd amount of money on broker commissions relative to the cost of paying a resident a referral reward. So because of this lack of communication amongst peers, renters are missing out on referral rewards and property managers are overspending on inefficient, antiquated marketing avenues. So what's the solution? The solution is Rentgrata, a referral reward based community building apartment listing service that connects people searching for apartments with current apartment residents. This marketplace will provide insight to prospective renters and generate relatively passive income for current residents. Similar to how Airbnb helps homeowners capitalize on their home and how Lyft helps car owners capitalize on their car, Rentgrata helps apartment renters capitalize on their apartment. This platform will also increase leasing efficiency and bottom lines for property managers. And here's the kicker. So by compiling and analyzing all of the conversations taking place on our platform between prospects and residents, Rentgrata can provide consumer insights and sentiment analysis on what's being said about a given property by its residents and help property managers learn what prospects actually want to know and care about when finding a new place to live. So far beyond whether it's pet friendly or not, or if they have in-unit washer dryers. Property managers and owners will be able to learn how to more cost effectively manage their buildings and learn where they should be concentrating their marketing and redevelopment efforts. So the product. So we're live in the App Store now. The renter-facing application is easy to use. You browse listings, chat with residents, and earn a split of the referral reward when you sign a lease, and make a new friend and be welcomed into your community when you do so. Current residents not looking for a new apartment just create an account and sit back and respond to messages from prospects. So not a whole lot of effort on their end. Our property manager dashboard is still being developed and we anticipate rolling that out this spring. So market size and revenue model. Multifamily professionals spend roughly $5 billion a year to attract and retain renters. And we are targeting properties with at least 25 units, of which there are over 140,000 or so in the United States. We started out offering a cost per lease payment model to property managers, basically saying, let us prove our value and we will retain you as a customer. We'll eventually move to strictly a subscription-based model, charging property managers per property per month to list their property, deliver leads, and provide consumer data and analytics. Competition, it's no secret that there's a ton of competition out there in the apartment listing space. Most of them are pretty similar. Some of them will help you find a roommate if that's what you're looking for. What most of them have over us is a marketing budget and brand recognition. And while those are important, obviously, that's really about it. There's no brand loyalty. There's no daily active use for someone who, after they find an apartment, right? You visit a few different sites or an app for a month or two, find a place to live, and then you don't touch it again for another 10 months. Our advantages. So we have advantages over our listing service competitors on all three sides of the marketplace. And since no one has been able to gather large quantities of data based on prospect resident communication, we are creating our own market in that space. And because Rentgrata appeals to and captivates both prospective and current renters, our platform will create daily active users, leading to an increased likelihood of repeat users. Our social nature will allow for rapid growth among young millennials, right? Tell your friends, hey, it's easy to find an apartment here and make money along the way. Kind of a no-brainer for people like myself and everyone we've known and grown up with. And so all of these advantages will create higher quality leads and reduce overall marketing expenses for our property manager customers. And so the combination of repeat users, higher conversions, and consumer analysis that we can provide will allow us to increase a single user's lifetime value to us and the property managers, and allow us to spend less in customer acquisition. Our team, Zach, Max, and myself are currently full-time. Sam is part-time. We also have a social media intern working for us part-time as well. My background is in the multifamily housing industry. Before helping found Rentgrata a little over a year ago, I worked for a nationwide REIT in the multifamily space. And before that, as a land development engineer, where our clients were multifamily developers. Max is an iOS developer and designer and has prior startup experience as well. That's about all for the pitch. Thank you everyone for joining us today. My contact info is here. We raised a friends and family round of $125,000 this past summer to help us operate the beta version that's live now in the App Store. And we are now raising $750,000 to help us build our team, further develop our technology, increase our market penetration here in Chicago, and begin expanding to our next markets. So thanks again, and we look forward to your questions.
Yeah, Ben, can you please talk about you and your co-founder's background and why you're geared and capable of this type of company, please?
Yeah, absolutely. My background, went to school for civil engineering. First job out of school was with a land development engineer in Dallas, Texas, and most of our clients were real estate, mixed use, and multifamily developers. So that gave me like my first introduction to the real estate industry in general. I ended up landing at a REIT headquartered in Denver, where I worked on their redevelopment team, essentially as an investment underwriting analyst for massive renovation projects on apartment buildings. So throughout that underwriting process, I would work with not only our finance team, but also our construction team and our leasing and marketing teams as well. So I got a pretty good grasp of the entire lease up process, from start to finish, from lead to lease for the customers that we were attaining when trying to fill apartment units. Our other two co-founders, Sam and Zach, both come from Big Four accounting firms, strong backgrounds in operations and finance and like face-to-face consumer-facing portfolios that they worked with while at these large accounting firms. They both have great passion for the startup space and kind of jumping in with both feet, along with myself, as we got started a little more than a year ago. We brought on Max back in September. He has experience in the startup space as well, having previously co-founded a social marketplace, and his background is in iOS development and design, and he's been assisting in the product management, sort of guiding the vision for where we want to go from a technology side.
Excellent. If you were to give us your 30-second elevator pitch about Rentgrata. So you're coming across an investor in an elevator, you're going up 5 floors with him or her, and you're quickly telling them what you're doing. How would you describe that?
Sure. So Rentgrata helps connect prospective renters with current residents of apartment communities. So prospective renters who are unfamiliar with where they're headed can reach out to someone who lives there, ask questions that are important to them, get feedback, and then if they sign a lease, they split the referral reward offered by the property management company, which in Chicago is anywhere from $500 to $1,500. So we are bridging the gap between the sharing economy and the apartment search industry.
All right, I'm going to pop on for 1 second because we have some questions for the crowd. So Ben, do me a favor and stop sharing your screen, and then we'll have our faces much larger on the screen one more time.
Sure.
So your first question from the crowd is actually from the Chicago Innovation Group here, and they actually asked, what is the benefit of focusing on markets outside of Chicago at this point, opposed to solidifying your presence in your home city, Chicago?
Yeah, no, great question. We absolutely intend on solidifying our footing and grabbing more market share here in Chicago before really focusing our efforts elsewhere. But we also realize the need to start to branch out, test this business model in other markets, and make sure it's not just something that will be successful in Chicago. So being able to utilize our the channels that we have to get in with property managers in other cities like Denver and Dallas and Houston, they will be able to help us pilot this in other cities. So after we are able to really know that this is something that can be successful elsewhere, in addition to Chicago, that's when we'll really ramp up our marketing efforts and business development efforts elsewhere. Like one of the things we really have going for us with this business model is most of the property managers that we've been talking to and that are coming on board have a presence outside Chicago. We've recently started working with a property manager here who only has one building here in Chicago, but they have 100 in Washington, D.C. So if we can prove our value here, it's something that could be easily transferable to multiple markets and eventually across the country.
All right, thank you for answering that crowd question, Ben. Ryan, we have time for about 1 or 2 more short questions. So is there anything else we want to dig into with Rentgrata and this investment opportunity?
Yeah, if we could talk about, I guess, how do you acquire new customers? How often are people going to be using this? And is a standard rent an average a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then they move to another place? I'm trying to ascertain the lifetime value of a customer, how much it costs to acquire that customer.
Sure. Yeah. So we think of our customers as property managers, and to this point, our customer acquisition costs have been relatively low. It's mostly been direct sales, working our way up if we have to from the actual like on-site leasing team up to their like marketing personnel, just getting in front of the right person, pitching them the value of that we provide to not only like their bottom line, but their residents, their customers. So our customer acquisition cost here in Chicago has been minimal. It's just our time, just picking up the phone and dialing. But I think to answer your question as far as like from the user side, for the renter users, we do anticipate this being something that that someone can use on a daily basis, right? This is from a current resident standpoint, it is relatively effortless to give yourself an opportunity to make a few $100s a month, right? You download the app, create an account, and you are listed as like a current resident at a building that someone is interested in moving into. They shoot you a message directly through the application. You get a push notification, respond to it, tell them about your experiences there, and if that person ends up signing a lease, you make money. Like there's really not a reason why someone our age wouldn't be open to at least giving this a shot, right? We're helping people, especially in cities like Chicago, where so many of my peers don't have assets like a home or a car that they can use to turn into a side hustle. We're helping apartment renters do that. And as more and more of my generation is sort of turning away from home ownership, it really isn't the American dream that it used to be with baby boomers and Gen Xers. Like we are perfectly okay with staying in our centralized urban environments, right in the thick of things, being close to our peers, and we're not looking to settle down out in the suburbs. So as our generation looks for ways to add a side hustle that doesn't have a lot of hassle that comes with it, Rentgrata is a perfect option for everyone.